It is January 29th, 2021, in the land of gods and monsters. Welcome to the SmackDown coverage on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Matt Morgan and Issa, NYC Demon Diva. Back again, twice in 1 week.
Wow, record.
I know, it's fantastic. I think we're going to be seeing more of you on this podcast. The big man, Big Money Raj, was very impressed the other night.
Yay.
Sure.
Yeah. As impressed as Raj gets. He's not Mr. When's the last time, Matt, we've been doing this a while. When's the last time Raj got excited about something?
Yeah. Anytime you talk, it gets all I'm going to switch lines.
Okay, Matt's going to switch.
I'm coming right back. My apologies.
Yes, we'll make it work. Before the show, Issa and I were bantering about Menudo. We will not subject the audience to that. Not yet, at least. Braun Strowman's back. That was the big surprise. So we'll see what that means for him in the Royal Rumble on Sunday. What did you think? Did this feel like a good go-home show for the Rumble?
Yes and no, right? Because I felt like the opening promo by Daniel Bryan, it actually really hyped me up. I was like, finally, somebody's really hyping the Rumble. And the end ended the way that a typical go-home show for a Royal Rumble ends, right? A mess, everybody's throwing each other over the ropes. But at the same time, I still didn't feel that, But I'm excited. It's the Royal Rumble. Do you really have to do a lot? You get excited for it no matter what.
Well, and that's why it's funny that they ended with 10 men out there tonight. They did this last year too, where, hey, we know the Rumble's coming up. Now we're going to give you, preview to the 30-man match. Here's 10 men in the ring.
Right. I'm the one who complained about Raw not feeling like a go-home show for the Rumble, and they definitely made me think of the Royal Rumble at the end of SmackDown. So, mission accomplished.
Yeah. No, I get it. So what'd you think overall, though, tonight of the show? We had, I'm surprised AJ versus Daniel Bryan. That was a free TV match tonight.
Yeah, and don't you remember when they fought for the Intercontinental title? They did it on free TV, too. Those two guys just going at it on cable television, apparently.
Yeah.
Overall, I don't know if it was because the Raw people were there. It kind of brought the show down to Raw feelings. It wasn't my favorite SmackDown episode in the last few weeks, but it was still better than Raw.
Yeah. Well, that's not hard. And it's shorter. It's shorter than Raw.
Right. It's easier to digest.
It's kind of like with a movie. I'll watch a bad 90-minute movie, but if you're 3 hours long and it drags a little bit, you tend to think of it kind of worse because you invested all that time.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So I'm waiting for Matt Morgan to get his ass back here so we can jump into it and talk about everything that happened tonight. I guess we should take this moment and plug Stereo, the sponsor of this episode. So you've heard us talk about it before. Many of you tuned in on Monday, the bonus show that we did after Raw this week and the week before. And with Stereo, they have thousands of live social conversations with a wide variety of genres for every interest, including news, comedy, sports, and more. You could choose whether to be a co-host, participate as a guest, or simply listen in on exclusive conversations. The app allows podcast creators to build a more intimate relationship with their fan base by engaging them in direct conversations, and listeners can record a question and send it directly. They could talk with you live and ask questions during the show. So we've been doing the after show, as it were, every Monday, and we want you to download the Stereo app, check it out. We're going to be going live every Monday after we finish the Raw recap here. You could be a part of it by talking directly into the app and pushing that record button, sending us a question. That's where Issa submitted a question, and we were like, whoa, Issa's got some presence on the mic. We should get her on the podcast. Who knows who could be next?
And you guys were working late last Monday, by the way.
Oh, I know. Matt and I, sometimes after this podcast, we end up talking, and it's like, we're not even on the air anymore. We need to just rein this in. So check it out. Come join us. Stereo is, again, a live social conversation app where you can participate. And there were some great moments in that last talk. We were getting really good questions from the fans. Here, let me switch you out here. People were asking Matt. We were talking about fitness. Matt went through a drive-through at one point during the bonus episode. It was riveting. We were talking about mental health, about motivation, about diet, about exercise. So much to talk about. What will we talk about this Monday? Well, the great news is you submit those questions. You direct the ship, as it were. Unlike here, where we have your super chats, we don't have a wrestling show we have to cover on Stereo. So it's a little more freeform, a little more free-flowing. So what you should do is go to Stereo, download that app, go to stereo.com/Glenn Rubenstein to follow me. You can go to stereo.com/Matt Morgan to follow Matt. You'll get notified whenever we go live on Stereo. We're going to be doing every Monday after the Raw recap, but who knows? We might do some other surprises as well. Be sure to follow us on there and you'll get that notification. So again, join us every Monday over on the Stereo app. Download that Stereo app, stereo.com/Glenn Rubenstein, or stereo.com/Matt Morgan. I love Stereo. I'm on the app all the time. Follow me, get notified every time I go live. And we thank them for sponsoring the Wrestling Inc. podcast.
Yay! Thank you, Stereo. I actually really like it. Ever since you got me onto it, I tune in randomly, and there's so many interesting conversations going on there. I really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. There's a lot of like Adam Carolla's been doing stuff on there. Jeff Ross, a lot of different podcasters are joining the platform. It's really good. And I really love the feedback, the messages we got. Matt and I, again, Matt, look at his storied career in wrestling and politics and American Gladiators and everything he's done. But still, to like hear so many voices, we see stuff in the chat room, but then to hear the voices really crystallizes like, oh, hey, these are real people, not just names on a screen, Right.
That's what I like about it. It feels like a more personal interaction.
Yeah. Oh, man. And I feel like if you ever yell at us during this podcast, this is your chance for us to hear you. If you want to tell us we're stupid and wrong, or you want to say, that's a very good point you made, Glenn, you can say that on the Stereo app and send that to
Literally say it.
Literally. So, yeah. Plus, also, sometimes we wrap the podcast and we realize, oh my God, we forgot to talk about this. Now we can do that with this bit of a wrap-up show on the after show, as it were, on Stereo. So,
or you want to spend extra time talking about something.
Yeah, and as Matt points it out, it's uncensored. It's exclusive. Matt cuts loose with it. Oh, if the people of Longwood heard what Matt says Matt actually is pretty polite, uncensored. But I'm selling it here. Oh my God, you want to hear how he really feels? You want to hear him shoot on Raj more? Listen on Stereo, stereo.com/Matt Morgan. Follow him. It's going to be good. I think we're going to talk about a lot of good stuff. Well, probably have so much Royal Rumble coverage between Sunday and Monday that we're going to be able to talk.
Right.
Like Michael Sachs Jr. asking, did I see the new Mighty Ducks trailer? We could do an entire episode on the Mighty Ducks on Stereo. That's what I want to do. That's what we should literally go on Stereo and we'll just talk about Menudo for an hour. And people that stumble in will be like, what in the F is this that I've discovered here? Someone that doesn't even speak Spanish, like butchering names of songs. Phonetically, I'll just say this. If you don't know Spanish and you listen to Menudo songs sometimes, sure, things like Fuego you can pick out, but other things like Hero Rock, someone that I know close to me thought it sounded like they were singing Ghetto Ron all the time.
No, and that means I want. Quiero means I want.
I know it means I want. I'm saying phonetically, it sounds like Ghetto Ron, Ghetto Ron's a good nickname. In the 70s, that would have been huge. I am Mayor Buck99 saying, yet Glenn can't chat here with us during the shows. Now, let me explain to people because it's a Friday and he's you've watched the show a lot. That's why you were here. That's how we know you. It is tough, and you could see the chat scrolling by, right, on StreamYard. So we see the super chats. I have to pause that chat to keep the super chats because they could disappear before I get to it. So I'm constantly flipping back and forth. I've got a tab with the Wrestling Inc. site open. I've got the StreamYard link. I'm Googling other stuff, and I'm looking at this chat, and I'm trying to keep the super chats to make sure I don't miss it. Because if someone pays money to Raj Giri, I don't want to miss what they have to contribute.
Right. No, I agree. And I understand. I use StreamYard myself, and it's hard to keep track of the chat and interact with everybody while, running your live stream.
And I've been sending very polite messages to StreamYard saying, because there are these tabs here that we see where it's comments, banners, brand, private chat, and settings, where I say, make one that's super chats and just keep all the super chats there. And then perfect. Alonzo Smith, you could send this as a voice comment on Monday saying that I look like I just woke up. I've been up for 12 hours now, and I even showered today so my hair would stay down because it's getting way too long, but it's too cold for me to shave my head. Blacksaw Johnny Hex, $4.99. Yo, what's up? How are you doing? And I think if you have a WWE Network account, it should be transferred to Peacock. That's kind of dumb in my opinion. I think there's probably a lot of wrestling fans that are not the target demographic for Peacock. Have you checked out Peacock yet?
Not yet, but apparently I need to. I'm a little nostalgic because I've been a subscriber since it started.
Oh, to the network or Peacock?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
To the network.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the Saved by the Bell reboot is delightful. That's on Peacock. AP Bio is a funny show. They had an episode about wrestling. Let's see. Matt Morgan. Okay, I have to censor this. Phones. Okay. He sent me a very long text message. Okay, I think Matt might not be able to make it back because he's having issues with his internet connectivity tonight. So it might just be us, Issa, for this evening.
Well, we'll do it. And if he figures it out, he'll join us.
Yes. If you can, great. People, this is the thing. They get to see how the sausage is made. But if not, okay. And I'll give him the okay sign. Do you ever do that? Do you ever type the word and then put the emoji next to the word?
Yeah.
I do that quite often.
Me too, actually. Too often.
My famous one is that I will often write fingers crossed just to get the fingers crossed emoji, but then forget to delete the word fingers crossed. So I'm sending it twice.
I feel like it just makes your point stronger when you use the word and the emoji.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me take the brand off. There we go. Now we can talk about the SmackDown. Daniel Bryan is winning the Royal Rumble. You heard it here first.
No, not here first, right? Like, I think it's been speculated for a while, especially the way they've been planting the seed. Since he declared himself, they've been saying he's never won the Rumble. Like, that's been the whole story. He's the only one that has a real story going into this Rumble.
If he is not winning the Rumble, this is the biggest misdirect, the way they're setting this up. Because I'm trying to think, who else going into the Rumble has as much of a story and natural momentum as Daniel Bryan does?
Nobody.
Yeah. Who else? Who would you like to see win if not Daniel? Who do you got?
I would like to see Shinsuke win. I'm a big Shinsuke fan. I think I shared that before. I think he has some good momentum going. I would like to see AJ Styles win. I would like to see Brock Lesnar. If you want my real choice, it's Brock Lesnar. I would love to see him come back and win. So, yeah.
Brock would be good. See, some people are saying Edge. Some people saying Braun. Edge doesn't need to be in it. I know he wants the title, but you could just say, Edge could say, I'm challenging Drew for the title, and they'll give Edge a title shot, and that's 100%
right. Right. I want Edge to get Seth Rollins out so they can build that story, because you remember back when Seth tried to kill him on an episode of Raw years ago when he was still retired. So like I want that to continue. I need that to have some kind of repercussion now, because Edge couldn't wrestle back then. So I would love that to be set up at the Rumble. Yeah,
I think that could be good. I think there's just a lot of directions they can go with this, but I think Daniel Bryan makes the most sense. But maybe there's a swerve. Brett Murphy, $2. I blame Raj for Matt's connection problems. It's possible. No, Raj would never sabotage one of our connections, because if he sabotaged enough of them, that would mean Raj has to do the podcast.
True.
In fact, if you ever want to know if things are bad, if you ever tune in and you see it's Raj alone on this podcast, you should be like, what in the hell happened? Did everybody's internet go down? Was there a mutiny? What's going on? Anyhow, the Daniel Bryan promo we saw tonight, it was good.
So good.
AJ came out, the quarterly brand-to-brand invitational, I don't know, some stupid rule to explain why he was there, even though he's a Raw talent. And they set up a match for them later in the night that I'm surprised actually happened. But let's talk Bianca Belair versus Bayley. This should have been on a pay-per-view.
Agree, the match of the night. And yeah, it should have been on a pay-per-view, and even for a title.
Just something a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been nice. It was good, though. This was a really good match. I want to talk about the promo Bianca cut after this, but Bianca getting the win here absolutely makes sense. Do you think this is it between Bianca and Bayley?
If Bianca wins the Rumble, as she should, then yes, it should be. Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. So maybe that's the hint. Unless, I think Rhea Ripley might make her debut at the
I
Rumble.
hope so. I hope so. Those are the two names that I would love to see win it all. But I mean, I think Bailey did a great job at making sure that Bianca was the one that shined throughout this entire feud. You have to give her props for that.
It was good. Bailey is MVP of the SmackDown women's roster. I mean, she's so good. And I feel like without a title, she hasn't skipped a beat or lost any of her shine.
I know. Ever since this whole heel turn, I just don't think Bailey does any wrong in my eyes. And that is one that has proven me wrong, because I remember thinking she'll never be a heel, and I just love her so much more as a heel. I don't ever want her to go face again.
And to put her over even more, she got better without a crowd.
Right. She carried that PC Center, like Performance Center era, was all Bailey and Sasha, to be fair.
And
I would like to see Bailey win too, only because I think Sasha and Bailey should happen at a WrestleMania, but that's just me and my own wild dreams. I want to see them both face each other in the biggest stage of them all.
Well, this last Sasha Bailey match had no steam behind it whatsoever.
I know, and it was
no build. So I'm torn between Rhea and Bianca. I think Bianca makes the most sense, but if Rhea needs to get heat with somebody in the Rumble to set up an A-level storyline for her going forward.
Right. But who do you want her to feud with?
Yeah, I would almost say she would be good with Bailey if it's going to be.
She would, but you want to put Rhea on SmackDown? Raw's women's division is hurting right now.
She should be. Well, I don't want to see her with Charlotte again. I mean, that was okay, but it wasn't great.
Well, we can always right that wrong and give the victory to Rhea, as it should have been.
I mean, Asuka is the champion, so she won't be in the Rumble. Rhea
is Asuka going to be champion for much longer with Alexa Bliss and her creepy ways?
True. It's true. She's going to conjure the powers of darkness to beat Asuka. Terry Allen Jr. wants to know, Issa, are you a gamer?
Sometimes, yes.
what do you like? What do you play? What do you like?
I play PlayStation, and Call of Duty is my favorite.
Oh, nice.
Quite violent, yes, I know.
Well, hey, it is. I was a Fortnite guy for a hot minute there, but I get motion sick kind of easily. So
I like Fortnite. I played it too.
Yeah, lately I've been playing this game Fuser by Harmonix that did Rock Band, and it's like a mashup game. It's actually really cool because you could you basically DJ, but you could take like the bass line from like Kelly Clarkson's Stronger, the drums from Where's My Head At. You can, mix in the guitar part from Killing in the Name Of and the vocals from Call Me Maybe. And you can like mix them together and they all play in key and in sync with each other. And then you constantly switch stuff in and out, like based on these challenges. So it's got like 100 different songs in the game. So I've been playing that a lot lately.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. I highly recommend it. There's a free demo for Xbox. I'm sure there's one for PlayStation as well. But if you like it, I highly recommend getting that and get the pack with the extra songs because it's a kick. And my wife's not bored watching me play it because at least the music is good. So, oh my God, thank you, Canadian $3. Matt, it's okay. Glenn and Issa are the real stars. There you go.
Thank you, Mike.
So what do you think tonight? I liked Bianca's promo. Poor choice to have her do the promo right after a match when it sounded like she was winded.
Right. Yes, agreed on that. I didn't like that part, but I love the promo, especially after the Chronicles episode. She's just so relatable and such a real, genuine person. I really, really would love to see her win on Sunday. I don't know. And there was a time that I was really not into her. And I'm like questioning my taste now. I'm like, why was I not a fan in the beginning? She's so good. Now I'm all in. But she was great. The promo was great. And I love that she called it the biggest win of her career. And it makes her look so good going into the Rumble on Sunday. Nobody should be shocked if she wins because look at how good she is.
It was an awesome babyface promo. And I don't blame her. I blame WWE for not letting her catch her breath for 30 seconds.
Right.
And then do this because they put her in a bad position.
They could have caught her backstage later and she could have cut the exact same promo, even more passionate.
Yeah. This was very good. Very, very happy. Hope Bianca wins on Sunday. A match that I cared about infinitely less. King Baron Corbin versus Dominic Mysterio.
Oh, man. I think it was the best Dominic has looked since his match with Seth Rollins at SummerSlam.
Huh.
For whatever that's worth. I don't know. I'm not a fan of this at all.
Okay. Okay. I will respond to Matt's text. Matt's texting me now about just give me updates. He's having internet issues, and I apologize on his behalf. He'll be back Monday, and we're going to do, or we'll be back Sunday because we're going to talk about the Rumble, and then we'll do stereo after on Monday. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic. Dominic looking good is a good thing. And I'm a fan of Dominic. I think they stifled whatever momentum he had coming out of his early matches when we were all impressed with him. But Baron Corbin beating him this second week in a row, not the best look.
Baron Corbin beats everyone with that end of days. He's so protected. I don't even think anybody's ever kicked out of the end of days.
No, someone has to have, right?
No, I don't think anybody's kicked out of it.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll believe you.
Probably that's one of the most protected moves there is. And people don't realize it, but I've been keeping track of it. Nobody kicks out of the freaking end of days, which is great. It is a great looking move.
It is one of the best looking finishers. Mm-hmm. Cyclops is better than Wolverine. I agree with that. $1.99. Baron the heel, yet Dominic always the one cheating.
He is Eddie Guerrero's son. Lie, cheat, and steal. So it makes sense for him to cheat.
Touche. Jody Shawn Jenkins, Canadian $5. As a proud Canadian, love seeing KO put over Everrise, some more great Canadians. Plus KO's promo with Roman was very, very good.
Very good.
Issa, if you were in a relationship with someone and you had a shared YouTube account, what kind of experience would have to happen where you said to the person you were with, you can't have your own YouTube account. We are sharing a YouTube account because I can't trust you.
I don't know what you're trying to get me into, but I would never have a shared account. Any account, not social media, not YouTube, not any kind of accounts with anyone. Maybe I have commitment issues. I don't know.
No, I get paranoid. My YouTube account is logged into our TV downstairs. Mm-hmm. And so I had to turn off the history on it because I don't want my wife seeing the random things I look up at YouTube. And I'm not watching the hot yoga videos or whatever the kids are into. I'm not watching like weird gaming streams. Like I'm thinking about old PSAs from the 80s that I was trying to find. Right. Or just weird random like movie clips I was looking for. I like a little privacy when I go down the YouTube rabbit hole.
I agree. And I get lost on YouTube rabbit holes, and it's all true crimes and serial killers. So I probably should not share my YouTube history either.
Could you imagine for me if your Wikipedia history was public? Because it's not, yes, there's some random pop culture things, but there's also a lot of shit I don't know that I have to look up on Wikipedia that I don't want people to know I didn't know that.
Right.
That's what would humiliate me more. So Shooter McGavin, Corbin is the wrestling equivalent of Raisin Bran. Raisin Bran's delightful.
Are you saying Baron Corbin is not delightful?
Actually, Raisin Nut Bran is the best. The one with
like
the crusted nuts or the crusted really interesting. The one with the crusted raisins. It's a little crispy. I like it. And Jody Shawn Jenkins, I kid. Jody Shawn Jenkins is a good sport, but it's funny. We found out it was a couple's account, Issa, because when Matt saw the photo the first time and it was asking a very technical question, Matt was like, "There's no way a girl's asking that question." And then they had to explain it's a couple's account. It was Jody.
I have to disagree with that, but
I know. Matt got.
However, that's the same way as well.
Matt got heat from the chat room because we shouldn't assume about genders. Right. People are into everything these days. I was into. I'm watching Menudo. Matt and I talked about how we both read Sweet Valley Twins books in junior high because we were trying to impress girls we liked. Don't be defined by gender roles. So Cyclops is better than Wolverine. $1.99. Me and my girl shared a Twitter, did not end well. Stellar Justin Lopez, $4.99. Yeah. Saying she's right about Corbin. WWE does the turn a singles match into a tag match too damn often. They did 3 times this week and twice in the main event.
Yeah.
Mike Hyde, Canadian, $2. Corbin equals real heel. He is probably the most old school of the heels
right
in the roster right now.
I agree. I don't mind Baron Corbin. I'm probably one of the few. I like him, and I like his work in the ring.
See, I think he's better with an audience. I do not think he's stepped up to working. He hasn't reinvented himself for the no audience era.
That's an excellent point. I agree with you. He does well when he has an audience. I haven't seen him do anything different or come out of a shell during this whole
Yeah.
no people era. I am so sad that there's not going to be any fans at the Royal Rumble. Speaking of this era, I'm excited for it. Do not get me wrong, but there's just something about no fans at the Rumble that's a little bit sad.
No, I agree. The Royal Rumble is
from here, but
it's probably the biggest fan favorite, biggest crowd reaction of the pay-per-views. Big E backstage with Sonya Deville asking about his Royal number. So Sonya, did they officially say she's the general manager now?
No, I haven't heard them say it officially, but it appears so. I think she's going to enter the Rumble.
Yes. Be cool. She is fantastic. We saw Miz and Morrison out there. Morrison made a very timely joke about the GameStop stock situation.
I know. I actually popped for it.
Have you been following all that?
Yeah, I have. It's insane.
Buy any?
No.
Oh.
No.
It finally got to me, the FOMO. Where
So
I was just like,
you did it.
I did.
I feel if you had stocks before, then good for you, but I don't know, but hey.
Oh, I'm terrible with the stock market. I'm the guy that back in the year 2000 had some money to invest and said, okay, they reached $20 a share. I can put it all in AOL or Apple computers. I think AOL is the winner.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I ended up losing almost all my money in that over time. Meanwhile, if I bought Apple, I'd be retired now.
Yeah.
So I'm not a stock guy, but no, I thought that it's good for everyone to learn about it. This has been a good entry point to people learning more about stocks. I still don't understand anything, but I'm to the moon. So let's see. We had the recap of Sasha Banks with Carmella Sommelier last week. Banks walking backstage. So are they continuing this with Carmella?
Yeah, they
and
have
Sasha?
a match they have a match.
Okay, that is happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So that'll probably be it, though.
It should be it. And that's something that I noticed tonight. It's like, why am I more into Bianca and Bailey than I am into Sasha and Carmella? While I did think that Carmella brought it at TLC, I thought their match was good, and you could see she improved in the ring. I thought it should have been a one-off. I'm not sure this is doing anything to elevate Sasha, and Sasha is such on a different level right now that it's almost like Roman. Nobody really feels like a legit contender for her, unless Bianca wins the Rumble, right? But I just don't. I cannot buy this feud. It's just, I just need Sasha to move on from it.
Carmella's good. I just think she hasn't had enough credible wins since she came back to pull off this new gimmick and trying to position her as an A-level talent.
Because they threw her straight into the title picture.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. King Rail 999 saying, your show is all I look forward to today. Life ain't easy. Neither is a smile at times. I needed this today. My spirits were in the dumps. Thank you for the smile, Glenn Issa in the chat. Wow. That's awesome. Thank you, King Rail. Hope you feel better. I mean, it's tough. I know I feel like we talk about this a lot on the podcast, but man, and this is why it's unfortunate when wrestling feels so stale sometimes, because that used to be one of the great distractions, to just check your mind at the door and feel something.
Agreed. I always view wrestling as an escape, especially for me. And it's when it gets to a point where you're not enjoying it, it gets sad, because that's your one escape.
Yeah.
But listen, I think this is the time of year that we all love. After the Royal Rumble, we're on the road to WrestleMania, and this is when it gets good for us. So I have high hopes.
That's true. So I gotta ask, because for King Rail's sake, when you're not feeling so great, or you just need like a pick me up, like what's your go-to movie or TV show or music that always puts you in a better mood?
Sex and the City is my favorite TV show.
Oh, nice.
And I go back and watch a couple old episodes. Music, I go to my dude Bad Bunny. So I'm excited about Sunday, because oh my God, when they announced that, I didn't care about the Peacock news anymore. I was like, Bad Bunny, I hope he drop kicks Booker T and we set up a match. I like fantasy booked an entire scenario.
Oh, nice.
So I love and I like going to old school salsa because that's what my dad listens to, and that always makes me smile.
Yeah, I find in terms of movies, the one that I always comes back to is Sing Street, which came out, I guess, 5 years ago now. Like that's just like kind of a good feel-good movie. Always love watching Back to the Future. That always puts me in a good mood. Recently, we watched Teen Titans Go to the Movies, which I did not know was a thing, that they did a movie of that. And that was like some of the most joyful experience that we've had just watching a film that was so fun. Sort of riffing on superhero movies. So I think King Rail
superhero movies. I like horror movies. So sometimes when I'm feeling a little out of it, I like going on Netflix and finding some of those horror movies that nobody would ever click on, just to see if it's any good and either make fun of it or enjoy it. Sometimes you find some good ones.
No, absolutely. That's my favorite thing. I love watching something. I think my most overused phrase, because I look for this, is where I go, oh, it was surprisingly good. And what that means is I went into it with low expectations. And then I was just like, oh my, this was actually pretty decent. Like, this is actually a pretty good movie. Yeah. So I think surprisingly good is kind of my motif, as it were. Mike Hyde, Canadian $2. King Rail, got your back. Thank you, Mike. Steve Marcuccioli, $4.99. With the Fiend winning the Royal Rumble with smoke and mirrors games, ruin the match for you?
That's a really, really good question. No, because that's what you expect from the Fiend. I just don't know that the Fiend should win the Royal Rumble. And
yeah,
I just think that the Fiend in title pictures is just a bad idea. He's a big character. He doesn't need to be in a title picture. I wouldn't be mad if he pulls smoke and mirrors to ruin it for Randy Orton, but I just don't think that he needs to win. If he does, it wouldn't make me upset because that's the character that he plays.
That being said, if we get all three Bray characters, Bray the Fiend and Muscle Man Bray Wyatt at the Rumble.
Muscle Man, and with the song has to be the entrance, the Muscle Man did.
That's all I've wanted, WWE, for a year and a half.
Alexa can do it too in the Women's Rumble. Now she has different characters. I would pop so much for that.
I don't think they realize how much potential there is in the Muscle Man Bray Wyatt that they have not exploited or tapped into at all.
Oh my God, that's one of my alarm clocks.
Really? That's awesome.
Yes.
We had Shinsuke backstage with Sami Zayn, and then we had Kevin Owens, and that set up some stuff that was going to happen later in the night. But then we had KO and Roman Reigns. Okay, so let's talk about this split screen and the way they were doing this. Roman's intensity, asking Kevin Owens about his father, about his grandfather. Like, this was kind of very, very heated.
Yeah, it was. First of all, you should never do a split screen with Roman Reigns. He should take full front entire screen, and I will never complain about that. That being said, I loved it because he brought a different side to KO. KO got so intense at the end, and you saw him beat Roman Reigns last week, and we needed that because KO has gotten his ass kicked week after week, so we needed to see a different side of him. And I am the biggest Roman Reigns fan, okay? I named my dog Roman. That's how much I love Roman Reigns. But when he started going into like, well, what kind of man was your father? Even I was a little triggered. I was like, you don't go there. And it worked. He got Kevin Owens triggered. I loved everything about that segment.
Yeah, it was good. It was heated. There's no chance in hell that Kevin Owens is winning.
No.
That's the problem with these feuds. I like to at least believe you got to give me an emotional hook. Like, Kevin is not the baby face to me where I go, well, maybe there's a chance. I want to see him give this kid, like if Sammy was in this feud, like babyface Sammy, you'd be like, well, I'm pretty sure he's not going to win, but I'd love to see Sammy get a shot. Even with Jay, it was that way. With Jay, it was like crazier things have happened.
Right.
Maybe it's Jay's time,
The problem is that they have overdone it so long with KO and Roman Reigns, but at the same time, they have really good in-ring chemistry. But sometimes the fight forever, they take it a little too seriously. But we talked about this too. There's nobody at Roman's level. So it's like, who are you going to put against him? It doesn't matter who it is. They stand no chance at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. Jackson Callens, $4.99. Only saw the last 20 minutes of a cluster peep. Braun looks amazing. Waste of a Rumble surprise. Issa watch Cobra Kai. I won't give up till you do. There you go.
Jax, I started it, but I'm only like a couple episodes in, so do not ask me questions. I am not an expert yet, but I finally started it.
Are you sure you actually watched it? You know, Matt lied to us about watching The Mandalorian. Got on this podcast with a straight face and lied for like a year saying he watched all of season 1.
Oh, I'm only 2 episodes in, so it's just the fact that I started it is a big deal because I've been so busy with content and stuff that I haven't really taken time to just watch something new. So I was excited for that, but I fell asleep halfway through episode 2, so I gotta restart it.
There you go. I feel we finished the Menudo miniseries last weekend, and since then it's just been all like music videos, 80s commercials, and old episodes of Leave It to Beaver. Like we haven't jumped into something real again. You know,
You'll get there. You just gotta find something.
Gotta find something. Although now I'm kind of like in a subtitle mood. But that's the problem. I mean, it goes both ways, right? Like you don't always want to read TV when you're watching it. Like there's this great French crime show called Spiral that's really fantastic. But the thing that I like about subtitle shows is you can't look at your phone during them. You have to pay attention. Yeah. Shooter McGavin, 5 pounds, saying Goldberg is WWE champion in 2021. Come on, at this point he could pass his Mike Ehrmantraut's twin brother. Spear yourself into retirement, bro. Goldberg is looking pretty old.
I agree with that super chat wholeheartedly.
King Rail 499, honest question: does WWE need CM Punk? If he shows up at the Rumble, how would that impact views? Not few months.
No, he means impact views for the next few months.
For the next few months, got it. Yeah, what do you think?
I mean, of course, that CM Punk will bring some kind of audience back, I think, but with the way that creative has been, like, what are they going to do with him? And I just think that we all need to just give it up. And if it ever happens, good for the fans. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. This conversation happens every year, and it's just like, I don't know. I have very 50-50 feelings when it comes to CM Punk.
Yeah. So Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles on TV with a DQ because there was a run-in. Big E, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, everyone getting into it. Really good matchup until then.
Of course, it's AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. As soon as they challenge each other in the beginning of the show, I was like, oh, let me get comfortable because I'm getting a treat tonight. But, you know.
And of course, it turns into a 6-man tag. Cesaro, Big E, and Daniel Bryan versus Shinsuke, Sami Zayn, and AJ Styles.
But the talent in that ring at that moment, like it has to make you, it's jaw-dropping to see this amazing wrestler, some of the best in the world, all in the ring at the same time. That's exciting.
True. And then, as if that weren't enough, we had more run-ins, and it turned into Otis, Cesaro, Big E, and Daniel Bryan versus The Miz, John Morrison, Shinsuke Nakamura, Sami Zayn, and AJ Styles.
What a mess. That's when I stopped keeping track of who was in the match and what was happening.
Yeah, so the baby faces, I think, they're the faces. Well, Sheamus, because Sheamus was in there, like, Sheamus baby face, I don't know. They got the win. Sheamus, Daniel Bryan, Otis, Shinsuke, and Big E, and then the Miz and Morrison beat Sheamus down. Like, it was just chaos. I mean, so...
Yeah, Sheamus is a face because he's been hanging out with Drew.
Oh, well, there you go. And then Braun showed up, came in, and started beating up people, standing tall in the middle of the ring. So this was a teaser for the Rumble. That's for sure.
You couldn't have saved... I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not a big fan. But you couldn't have saved Braun for the Rumble and just have some a surprise return for him. I mean, I don't know that I would consider it a surprise. But, you know, I don't know. I hate when they say he has the most eliminations in a Royal Rumble match because I don't count that stupid Rumble that he won. So, whatever. He looked dominant. You can tell that he spent his time healing and working on himself. So, good for him. He looks good. He
looks like he definitely more cut.
Yeah.
Coming back. So it's good. So all in all, for a go-home show, I mean, look, we were already excited about the Royal Rumble. I don't know if this makes me more excited.
For Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
And Bianca Belair. I feel like if those two win the Rumble, the SmackDown did a really good job at showcasing them and making them look good tonight before the Rumble.
Oh, that's a good argument, though. That they might not have the same... winners off the same brand, you know?
Really? Wait, and I'm trying to think because when Becky and Seth won, weren't they both on Raw?
They didn't win the same year, though, right?
Yeah. In 2018, they both won the Rumble.
Oh, Seth won that year? Why did I forget that for some reason?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Interesting.
sure they were both on Raw. Yeah, because no, I'm sorry. Becky was on SmackDown because she showed up on Raw to challenge
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey. So that's my mistake.
Token Dom
Um,
$4.99. Buy or sell. Someone from NXT will win the Rumble. Well, will win the Rumble in the next 3 years. I don't think someone while they're active on the NXT roster will win the Rumble. I think that's too. I could see Rhea debuting and winning the Rumble, but I don't think they'll have an active NXT member win.
right. I agree. I think. Yeah, I don't see it happening. I think it will make a big impact, kind of like Kevin Owens showing up to challenge John Cena, NXT champion. That was amazing, but
I know. I wish they still did that.
me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And that NXT Invasion of SmackDown episode, because they were stuck in Saudi Arabia, that was such a good episode. Yeah, I wish they would play with the NXT cast more in the main roster, but they don't.
Especially they're all right there. There's no travel involved.
It makes sense.
Mike Hyde, Canadian $5. That's like $4 American. I haven't watched wrestling in months. Braun made me more excited for the Rumble. In fairness, so did Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, Braun looked good. The fun part of the Rumble for me is like getting somebody to throw a bunch of people out. And Braun did look that part tonight.
Yeah. He's dominant. I mean, he's a dominant guy, but I mean, there's a lot of bigger guys though now. That could have that spot in the Rumble. But I'm curious to see what we'll get. I'm really excited for the Women's Rumble. I think that'll be good.
Yeah.
I
feel it's so uncertain though. I feel like at this time every year we kind of have an idea, right? And tonight you can sit here and ask for my picks and I'll go back and forth between a few for all of them. So I love the uncertainty going into it. I did hear somebody manifest that Goldberg is going to lose to Drew and then win the Men's Royal Rumble. And I would jump out my window, and I live high up. So
it's good to clarify. I would jump out my window, and I'm not talking about just 20 feet off the ground.
No.
Don't do that. So look, the Rumble's going to be great. It's all, even a bad Rumble is still pretty interesting.
Yeah. But unless the ending Goldberg can really kind of like ruin everything else that happened.
Yeah, before. If Goldberg wins the Rumble, no, it's going to be awful.
Last year's Men's Royal Rumble was absolutely epic, in my opinion. They have big shoes to fill because it was one of my favorite Rumbles in years for the men's.
The stuff with Brock was good.
It was great.
Well, it was it was cute. And I don't know.
Cute?
It was cute. It was a cute little spot that people would keep coming in. Brock would eliminate them one at a time. It was a totally different feel. It did not feel like the Rumble for that first, however long that went on.
I have a dream of Brock coming in at number 1 and eliminating 29 people and winning. But Brock is my second favorite, so that's just when he destroyed Shinsuke, I was heartbroken though. That actually hurt. Yeah,
it was more like Brock having a gauntlet match than a Rumble.
You're actually right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But they could do that. You could do that on a pay-per-view and have Brock say, I'm going to run a gauntlet match. I'm going to run through the entire roster. You could do that, and that could probably headline a pay-per-view.
It was epic, but they did not read the room. They should have given him more time with Kofi. It was the first time him and Kofi had a face down after he won the title from Kofi. And oh man, it was booked very well. I really like that Rumble.
The Token Dom $4.99 saying Raquel and Dakota win the Dusty Cup, face Flair and Asuka, and take those titles off them. Who takes the pin though?
I think that Asuka and Charlotte are losing the titles on Sunday. So they'll be facing Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler.
Well, there you go. I think of the Dusty Cup tonight is who's Ember Moon's tag team partner? I saw the post about it. Why am I forgetting? Who the chat room could tell me who Ember's teaming with tonight. The image looked cool. It looked like a very good pairing. But we'll talk about that in a second. Brett Murphy, $5. Issa, you're the absolute best. Sorry, Alfred. Also, Priest has to be in the Rumble, don't you think?
Oh yeah, 100%. What else do you do with him? If you were thinking about booking him into the Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens storylines as it was rumored, I think it's better to debut him in a Rumble and give him a good showing. Let him throw a couple of people out. And then maybe whoever throws him out can be his first feud.
It's Shotzi that's teaming with Ember Moon.
That's a good team.
That's a great team. They should. Yeah. They should. So they're on 205 Live. They probably already already wrestled tonight. Hopefully they won. They should win.
Yeah, who were they wrestling? Do you know?
I was not familiar with the talent, so I'm assuming Shotzi and Ember won.
Okay.
Yes. Leon's Duncan, $2 saying schedule change, work Mondays, no more Raw. Darn. I don't know,
Good for
Leon's.
you.
Yeah.
Don't, you're not going to be missing out on much.
Yes. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Now, of course, I have to plug again. Sunday, we're going to be here to cover the Rumble. Monday, we're going to be back to cover Raw. And then Monday night, after we finish with Raw, do not miss the after show, as it were, our after party over on the Stereo app. We'll be going live. We want to hear from you. Our first two shows were nuts. I do not have clips queued up. I would have to go through and edit and find the ones that are safe to play with people here because it got crazy. It got nuts. Matt was just going off, cursing like a sailor. Things that are not safe for YouTube or the podcast. But hey, tune in Monday. I'm sure we're going to have so much to talk about, so much stuff we can't even talk about on this podcast. And to check us out on Stereo, be sure to follow. Go to stereo.com/Glenn Rubenstein, stereo.com/Matt Morgan. Give us a follow on there. You'll get notified when we go live. Stereo is the app for live social conversations, and we want to talk directly with you, our listeners. You can join our show, ask us questions about anything, and share your experiences and opinions. And again, we want to hear everything. So download now. Join us live on Monday. The link is in our show description here. Again, get the app, stereo.com/Glenn Rubenstein, stereo.com/Matt Morgan. We thank them for sponsoring the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Issa, so great doing this with you. Glad you're going to be here more often. And Leon's Duncan's pointing out $2 today. I was being sarcastic.
I figured.
So there you go. On that note, have a great weekend, everyone. And we'll catch you back here next time on the Wrestling Inc. podcast.
Bye.
Take care.